Alright guys, this is a interim of phase 2 for working on the Jeep. I just kind of wanted to show you guys what all is going on with taking off the EGR. And unbolting it is stupid and a waste of time. And I ended up just using some bolt cutters. So basically, these are your injector fuel out ports. It says it's an out port fitting, but it's actually an in. But anyway, they are made out of plastic. I would highly recommend pull this tab up and then you can release them and they pop out pretty easy. They are completely made out of plastic. 1010 recommend you taking those guys out before you work on this. I ended up cracking mine and I had to jimmy rig a hair tie to hold the injector line onto the porch so that I could limp myself home at 7 miles an hour. Anyway, they're $18 a piece on eBay. My dealership did have some, and that's just because they bought some off of eBay. So, let me grab this big old fella. He fits right in there. You're going to unplug your blue plug, and that stays with the EGR. And this is where that red plug or orange plug, whatever your color you see it as, it's kind of like a fugly maroon. And this guy, I guess it's orange. Mine's just really dirty. So this guy just stays unplugged, this guy stays unplugged, and he's attached here. Don't worry about it. That is that blue port. He stays there. I have the EGR blocker plate on. And then, sorry, it is heavy to do this one-handed. So as you're looking at it, that hard line that it talks about is this front port. And then your secondary line, I got a second block off plate on there, comes out here to this side, which is what you're going to work on from the bottom through the wheel well. Not a lot of space there. And on the back, what it's talking about, those bolts it wanted you to undo, is that guy. Mine's stripped out, so I couldn't get it detached. I'm just gonna ceremoniously throw it there because I hate it with a passion. And what I ended up doing was I got some bolt cutters and I cut back some of this heat plate so that I could get to it. And I actually just cut that bracket piece that was holding it on. This piece right here, and that was just a shit ton faster and easier. Yeah, so I would honestly recommend you do that instead of go through the whole pain in the ass of trying to figure out if it'll even come off in the first place. Now the second part is the actual exhaust pipe up here comes up over here. If you got fat hands, you might want to try and take it off, but it is a three point. Come on, buddy, focus. There we go. So one here, and then one on the bottom. So you will end up having to go into the bottom anyways, no matter what. And then the lower part of the exhaust, which I'll show you in a minute, does get in the way. So it is just a 13 millimeter to get that part unhooked. I've got my Jeep on a jack, and that helps immensely. Now, the one problem I will say that is not the same as the Ram Delete is in the Ram, when you look at this port, and you'll discover my issue, is the Ram port actually has a second nozzle that comes out the head of this. And they can connect one of their up pipes up here from the firewall straight into it. On the Jeep, we don't have that. So my mission is to figure out if in our setup, whether or not these two will simply connect, or if I have to splice it into what I'm guessing is this line up here, because this would be the upper hose. My guess is that I'm going to be doing some splicing or some jerry rigging to connect the two hoses together because they don't quite fit by themselves. Now, going to the underside of my Jeep. Sorry, fellas. And yep, that is a rim. Judge me later. I don't care. Alright. for that def and DPF sensors and stuff like that. They just have you zip tie them. I kept some of my zip ties, so I don't have to do much. The only thing I had to zip tie was this fella and get him out of the way. Now, up here, so this is the bottom end. I just blocked it for now because I had to go to town. And I will tell you that with any type of exhaust leak, you will be going 7 miles an hour or 10 downhill, which is awesome. So your primary exhaust pipe comes up here through this hole. If you don't know where I'm at, here's our wheel and our exhaust pipe. So you're going to just kind of follow this guy up here. And my plan right now is to disconnect this just to kind of get the pipe out of the way so I can actually see better. So really kind of a visual. And then we'll be working on that pipe up there.